Hello there, hi, very good afternoon. My name's Rob Dinsmore. I'm the sales manager for InVMA Limited, and we've been here today and yesterday showcasing a number of different technologies, but principally what we are demonstrating here today is our Thingworks platform, which is a software package that's used to build Internet of Things type solutions and systems to fulfill an Industry 4.0 strategy. And there's lots of different methods that might take, but predominantly the kind of thing we have here is asset monitoring. So we are connecting to different types of assets, primarily industrial ones, hot, heavy, vibrating equipment like boilers, like compressors, like anything that is used, automated within a factory or within machinery. And we can visualize and make a lot of information about those assets visible so that operators can make good decisions about how they run their factory floor. And that's really the starting point of what we do. From there we go into deployment of analytics to make use and better sense of these larger data sets that the IoT enables you to gather. And then on top of that, we do also deploy augmented reality, which is another way of consuming that data set and uses things like HoloLens and mobile phones. I would say InVMA is helping companies shape their Industry 4.0 strategy through a number of key things, and really what we're able to do is sit a company down and really understand what their data goals are, and that's really, for me, is the crucial part of what Industry 4.0 is about. It's about bringing together these larger data sets that are available, possibly adding in additional specific data, which is where you might put new sensors in, but bringing that whole story together, understanding the stakeholders that are involved in the process, understanding what they need, and then from there being able to sit down and actually build a map, a workflow, process diagram, and a way of working that allows us to prioritize the pieces of work that are going to deliver the most value, because we're always trying to tie back the technical things you might try and do to the business value that you're going to achieve for doing them, because otherwise, in our opinion, there isn't really much point. But our goal is to help companies focus on that, define their strategy, and then start to build that out and support them as we do it. And we work with lots of different types of partners to help that, because as a software company, we need people to help us with sensors, we need people to help us with communications, we need people to help us with cloud platforms and all the other pieces that go into an Industry 4.0 system. So that's really what we do, is to try and bring that entire story together and help companies focus on the way that they can make the most of the data in their business. And in terms of our view from an InVMA perspective on adoption of Industry 4.0 and how we think manufacturers could do better, I think, this is a personal view, I guess, personal answer to the question, is to keep it quite simple. It's to start with trying to focus on the areas where there is inefficiency in the organisation. And you say, okay, how can we start to try and improve that? And very often that starts simply with visualising all of the assets in the organisation. I'd say to any industrial company asking themselves where we're going to start with all this, it's broad, it's a big challenge, and it's hard sometimes to know where to focus. One of the easiest, simplest places to start is, let's go through all the assets that you have in your organisation and let's understand their performance, their use, and how that performance and use is correlating to your work in progress, to your output. And what we very commonly find is that just by starting to monitor assets and to understand what normal behaviour looks like, build a model for that, and therefore very quickly generate alerts when someone steps outside of normal operation, for us that is very often the starting point to an Industry 4.0 strategy. It's from there that you'll start to gather more data. It's from there you might start to add more sensors, and you might do analytics and all these extra near the end of the journey things. But it starts with understanding your assets and optimising their use in relation to your process and what you're making.